So we now have a photo in a new journal. We didn't think we were going to be in the gems quite yet. But there's some classic blue celestines or celestites back here, some interesting violet corundums here and over there. An unusual etched beryl, that's a heliodor in the back. It's very unusual. These calcite twins are striking. They're yellow calcites that are kind of head scratchers. They're pretty neat. And last but not least is this chromium beryl. It's very high in chrome content. It also has vanadium. And the definition of emerald is based on the percentage of chromium that they find in the beryl. This is just under that, if you will, artificial definition for emerald. So we call it a chromium beryl. Technically, it would be an aquamarine, but it's a distinctive, almost a Paraiba blue color that is unique. And there were very few crystals that were found in a unique pocket of this, and we like that one. Right? Yeah, Gene Myron wanted that, and he kept insisting, "Please unsell that so I can buy it. I want that piece." And
that I painted was a matrix piece that I bought, but it had tourmalines on it too, so it had a number of other minerals. And when Federico came to my booth and saw, I didn't know it was him. Saw the painting, he said, "I'm very familiar with that." And I'm thinking, what's wrong with this picture? He's from Italy, and the piece is from Madagascar, and he's familiar with one major painting. He was familiar with all of them.
Well, in fact, this piece, if you look in the center, there are lidocotites, at least examples of them, the kind of the dark rim pieces. Those are actually lidocotite tourmalines, and that's probably what was on that piece.
Mine also.
This is Gail. Gail put this quartz case together, and I promised to keep my mouth shut, and I'll let her tell the stories.
I'll believe it when I see it. Just wanted to put together a variety of quartz for people to see, because, as you know, it's one of the most common minerals, if not the most common mineral there is. A plentiful mineral, anyway. We have what's known as the strawberry quartz from Mexico. Just fascinating with the sparkly inclusions, and it's beautiful. And the icicle, as our grandchildren like to call it, in the back.
Etched quartz is unusual to see in any place. You see an elongated crystal like that, and I just broke my promise.
I really don't mind. I don't mind. I may not be. This one is from. Let's see, where is
India,
that one?
Pakistan.
Yeah, Pakistan, of all places. Then we have a hematite included quartz back there, which is just spectacular. I've never seen anything like that before.
Right. Just incredible piece. That would make a hell of a painting.
And that was, I think, Wilbur stopped and put that in What's Hot in Tucson as well. And back here from China is a beautiful quartz with hematite inclusions and epidote. And to me, that was just so aesthetic, and it looks like rocks with moss growing on them. And I fell in love with these, and I bought 4 or 5 different ones, and then they were sort of no more. They came out, they were plentiful, and then they were gone.
Gail had the eye for these. It didn't excite me early on, but the more I studied them, the more I loved them. And it turned out she had the eye and was picking up all the best pieces. And then suddenly people were scrambling, looking for them. There were no more. We had a significant number of them, as it turned out.
Beautiful.
We had a dealer that said to us, "Why are you getting those? You don't need those for your collection." And of course.
What's need have to do with it?
What does need have to do with it is what we like. And back here we have a gorgeous Gwendel.
It's a double Gwendel.
Quartz.
There's a Gwendel included by a Gwendel in this case. It came out of the Eric Castleborn collection before he sold his collection. Is that incredible?
That is gorgeous.
Now I always forget what that.
It's
something Burgite. Something Burgite. It's just a little piece that I picked up that I really fell in love with. And it's, let's see, I can read it on my own list if I can find it.
Edinburghite.
Yeah.
Edinburghite,
We've got too foggy here with the show. The green is included, Edinburghite is the green mineral in this quartz.
My husband loves to talk. Of course, we have, in honor of being up here, we have the Herkimer quartz as well. The piece behind us from China, which is just like a jumbled, gorgeous explosion of sprays of quartz. I just think that is incredible. And that was a gift from Stuart Walensky. When I oohed and awed about it, he just kind of said, "Here you go." So you can explain this one. I know you're dying.
She's right. I'm dying to talk about this. This is oddly enough a piece from India, southern India, Tamil Nadu, and which is just across the strait from Sri Lanka, famous for its gems and whatnot. And you don't find, at least we haven't seen in the market, to my knowledge, very many quartz or really minerals at all from that part of the world. But they are starting to bring some nice things out that are not zeolites and not so fragile. And here's an example. This is the sceptered amethyst. If you look at these, they're these elongated quartz bars or rods, if you will, that sceptered out and with a cap of dark purple amethyst on the end of each individual branch all the way around this thing. And we've since run into a number of dealers who had seen this piece in its travels around the globe from India. The first sighting of this piece, if you will, was in Tokyo, of all things. A dealer out of London was telling us he recognized the piece and had photographed it, in fact, at a show in Tokyo. So that's where it had come from India. It went on to Europe and then came back to the United States and ended up in our collection. So this has been a world traveler. This is also from India here as well. It's on a long terminal end of a quartz crystal here as its matrix, with this wonderful pyrite and amethystine quartz garland on the end. It's just aesthetically gorgeous. From the same part of the world as that bright red quartz right there. This is Bolivia. Bolivia is an area that we've continue to be fascinated by. As you know, Extra Lapis has just put out a book featuring Bolivian minerals. This is in the center point here, an andorite. It's a rare silver variety of mineral with zincite on it, zinconite I think it is. The crystal blades are among the largest, if not the very largest, known in the world. It's just everyone's seen it and says that's the largest they've seen, at least. So it's not just the largest I've seen, it's the largest everybody else has seen so far. And that came out of Bolivia from the locality where most of those are found that escapes me at the moment. There's an interesting ametrine here. It's a combination of amethyst and citrine. If you look at it, it's kind of banded yellow inside of purple, and it actually there's several stripes that alternate in the material. That's pretty fascinating. This is a dark blue bauxite rarity from I believe from the Yagua mines up there, and on the opposite end here is a parabauxite, this beautiful rosette is a rarity, and that's an extremely large crystal cluster for that particular mineral. It's usually found in very tiny examples. Another, right. Here's an interesting bismuthinite. It's an unusual habit for a bismuth-based mineral here, and a blue-green vivianite. The classic vivianites from the locality are more like this green variety here. This is kind of a gem quality piece here. You can't see any of the blading, the classic blade edges. It's absolutely transparent. Standing here, I can see the matrix on the other side as if it were a green looking glass. Some interesting manganites and ludlamites here that are found, famous find of a rarity in Bolivia. This is a twisted ludlamite. It's doubly terminated, torqued, almost a full 90-degree twist on it as it goes up on a interesting pyrite matrix. So that too is an interesting aesthetic piece for a variety of reasons. And a bright blue. This thing, just in the proper light, is just a radiating blue, lustrous, almost acicular, but they're needles. They're really long, thin blades of vivianite is what we're